Hey everyone, welcome back to Speak Up, the podcast that helps you improve your English speaking skills in a fun and practical way. If you're new here, we're so glad to have you. And to our returning listeners, thank you for tuning in again. You're on a journey to becoming a confident English speaker, and we're here to guide you every step of the way.
That's right. Whether you're listening at home, commuting, or taking a break, this episode is going to be packed with simple, effective techniques to help you speak English fluently and naturally. And trust me, today's topic is one that every English learner struggles with at some point, so you're definitely not alone.
Now let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where you want to speak English but the words just don't come out? Maybe you hesitate, struggle to find the right words, or feel nervous, even when you know what to say. It's frustrating, right? You might have studied grammar, memorized vocabulary, even practiced reading and writing, but when it's time to actually speak, your mind goes blank. Why does this happen? And more importantly, how do you fix it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. We'll break it down step by step so you can start speaking English with confidence, without hesitation, without overthinking, and without fear.
Yes! And here's the best part. Improving your English speaking skills doesn't have to be difficult. In fact, there are simple, practical techniques that can help you become a fluent and confident speaker faster than you think. Imagine having a conversation in English where you don't feel nervous, where the words come naturally, and where you sound clear and confident. Sounds amazing, right? Well, by the end of this episode, you'll have a roadmap to get there, so stay with us, because in just a few minutes, we'll reveal a powerful technique that will completely change the way you practice speaking English.
First, let's start with something really important. Speak more, fear less. This is where most English learners get stuck. They wait for the perfect moment to start speaking. They think, I'll speak once my grammar is perfect, once my vocabulary is better, once I stop making mistakes. But guess what? That moment never comes. Waiting for perfection actually stops you from improving. Speaking English is like learning to ride a bicycle. You don't wait until you perfectly understand how to balance before getting on the bike. You get on, you wobble, you fall, and with each attempt, you get better. That's exactly how speaking works. The more you speak, the more confident and fluent you become. So stop thinking, stop doubting, just start speaking.
That's absolutely right. And let me ask you, what's the worst that can happen if you make a mistake? No one is going to laugh at you. No one is going to judge you. In fact, most people appreciate when someone makes an effort to speak their language. Accept mistakes. They are a sign that you're learning. If you're afraid of speaking in front of others, start small. Speak to yourself. Describe your day in English. Speak to a mirror. Pretend you're talking to a friend. Speak to your phone. Record yourself and listen back. These small steps help you overcome fear. Confidence doesn't come before speaking, it comes because of speaking. So don't wait, don't overthink. Just start using English in your daily life.
Exactly. And one of the best ways to remove fear is by starting with simple conversations. You don't have to talk about deep or complex topics. Just start with basic daily conversations. Things like, how was your day? What are your plans for the weekend? Or even ordering food in English. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to get comfortable. And here's a trick. Speak even if you know only 50% of the words. If you don't know a word, replace it with something close. For example, if you don't know the word refrigerator, just say cold box or where I keep my food cold. Native speakers do this all the time. You don't need a perfect vocabulary. You just need to communicate.
Yes! And think of speaking English like muscle training. The more you do it, the stronger you get. Imagine a bodybuilder at the gym. If they only lift weights once a week, will they get stronger? No, they train daily, even if it's just a little. It's the same with speaking. Speak every single day, even if it's just a few sentences. Talk to yourself in English when you're cooking, walking, or thinking. Join online English speaking groups or practice with a friend. The more you expose yourself to speaking, the faster you'll improve. So don't wait for the perfect time. Start speaking today and watch your confidence grow.
Now, let's talk about one of the biggest obstacles in English speaking. Thinking in your native language and translating every sentence into English. If you're doing this, don't worry, it's completely normal. Most learners start this way, but here's the problem. Translating in your head slows you down. Imagine this. You're having a conversation, but before you respond, your brain first thinks in your native language, then translates the words into English, then checks if the grammar is right, and finally, you speak. That's too much processing. No wonder it takes time to answer. The key to speaking fluently is to think directly in English. This might sound difficult at first, but trust me, it's easier than you think if you follow the right steps.
Exactly. And here's how you can train your brain to think in English naturally. First, describe your surroundings in English. Right now, wherever you are, just look around and say what you see in English. For example, if you're in your room, think, I see a table. The table has a book on it. The book is blue. Keep it simple. The idea is to make your brain comfortable with forming sentences directly in English. Another great way is to talk to yourself in English daily. When you wake up, say, I'm getting out of bed. Now I'm brushing my teeth. When you cook, think, I'm making tea. I need sugar and milk. These small habits will train your mind to stop translating and start thinking in English automatically.
Yes! And here's another powerful trick. Use English words for everyday thoughts. Most people think in their native language when planning their day or remembering things. Try to switch that to English. For example, instead of thinking, Mujhe market jana hai or Mujhe pani peena hai, train yourself to think, I need to go to the market or I need to drink water. At first it will take effort, but soon it will feel natural. One of the fastest ways to do this is to set your phone and apps to English. Read your messages and notifications in English, think about them in English, and respond in English. The more you expose your brain to English, the faster it will become your default thinking language.
Absolutely, and that's the goal, to make English your default thinking language. The moment you stop translating, you'll notice a huge improvement in your speaking speed and fluency. At first, it will feel strange and you might struggle, but that's completely normal. Just like learning to ride a bike, at first you have to remind yourself to balance, but soon it happens automatically. English thinking works the same way. The more you practice, the faster it becomes second nature. So from now on, challenge yourself. Whatever you do, think in English. And trust me, once you break the translation habit, your fluency will skyrocket.
A lot of people say, I don't have a partner to practice with, so how can I improve my English speaking? Well, no partner? No problem. You don't need someone else to practice. You can improve your speaking skills alone. In fact, many fluent English speakers started by practicing on their own. So, how do you do it? Let me share one of the most powerful techniques, the shadowing technique for fluency. This is super effective. All you have to do is find a native English speaker's audio, maybe from a podcast, a movie, or a YouTube video, listen to them, pause, and repeat exactly what they say. Try to copy their pronunciation, tone, and speed as closely as possible. Imagine you are their shadow following their speech. This will train your brain to speak English naturally without hesitation.
Yes, shadowing is one of the best ways to improve fluency. But there's another powerful method, daily English conversation with yourself. It might sound funny, but talking to yourself in English can boost your confidence like nothing else. Start narrating your day in English. When you wake up, say, I am getting out of bed, I am brushing my teeth. When you're cooking, say, I am making rice, I need to add salt. You can even practice before a mirror and act like you're having a real conversation. This method helps you get comfortable forming English sentences naturally. And the best part? No fear of judgment because you're talking to yourself.
That's such a great tip. And here's another trick that works like magic, English listening practice to speaking. A lot of people listen to English but never try to repeat what they hear. If you really want to improve, don't just listen. Listen, pause, and repeat. For example, play an English podcast or watch a YouTube video. After every sentence, pause and try to repeat it exactly the way the speaker said it. This improves not just your pronunciation, but also your ability to form sentences quickly. And if you want an extra challenge, listen to the whole sentence, then try to say it again without looking at the subtitles or transcript. This will train your brain to think in English and help you speak faster and more naturally.
That's right. Even if you don't have a speaking partner, you can create an English speaking environment around you. Set your phone, apps, and social media to English. Change your thinking language to English. Start messaging your friends in English instead of your native language. Surround yourself with English as much as possible. The more you hear, think, and speak in English, the faster you'll improve. So don't wait for a speaking partner. Be your own speaking partner. Start today and you'll see the results sooner than you think.
One of the biggest reasons people struggle with speaking English is this: they don't have enough words to express themselves. Think about it. If you know only a few words, you'll always feel stuck, searching for the right thing to say. Limited words equals limited speaking ability. But don't worry. Improving your vocabulary doesn't mean memorizing a long list of difficult words. You need to be smart about it. Instead of learning random words, focus on the most commonly used words in daily conversations. For example, instead of memorizing elated or ecstatic, just know happy and excited, words that you'll actually use. Learning practical words will help you speak more naturally and with confidence.
Exactly. And here's the key. Don't just learn words, start using them immediately. The biggest mistake learners make is memorizing words but never using them. Let's say you learn the word delicious today. Instead of just knowing the meaning, use it in a sentence right away. For example, after eating something tasty, say, "This food is delicious." This way, your brain will remember the word in real-life situations. The more you use a word, the faster it becomes part of your natural speech. So every time you learn a new word, use it in a sentence at least 3 times on the same day. That's how you make it stick.
And here's another powerful tip. Learn phrases, not just single words. Think about how native speakers talk. They don't just say one word at a time, they use phrases. Instead of learning good, learn that's a good idea. Instead of memorizing help, learn, can you help me with this? Phrases help you sound more natural and fluent. Plus, they make it easier to form sentences without thinking too much. You won't need to translate in your head because you'll already know the full phrase. So next time you learn a word, also learn a sentence or phrase that includes it. Trust me, this will boost your fluency fast.
That's such a great strategy. And here's one last thing. Vocabulary matters, but only if you use it in real conversations. Many learners know a lot of words but still struggle to speak because they don't practice using them in real life. So, challenge yourself. Every day, use at least 5 new words in your daily conversations. Whether you're texting a friend, talking to yourself, or even writing a social media post, use the words. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. So, don't just collect words, speak them. That's how you'll truly improve your English speaking skills.
You know what? Even if your grammar isn't perfect, you can still sound confident if your pronunciation is clear. Think about it. Have you ever spoken to someone whose words were grammatically correct but hard to understand because of unclear pronunciation? That's why pronunciation matters. You don't need a fancy accent, but you do need to be clear. And the best way to improve? Watch and mimic native speakers. Listen carefully to how they pronounce words and try to copy them. You can do this by watching English movies, YouTube videos, or even listening to English podcasts. Pay attention to how they move their mouth, how they stress certain words, and how they connect sounds. The more you copy, the more natural your pronunciation becomes.
Exactly. And here's a super fun and effective way to improve. Use tongue twisters. They might seem like just a fun game, but they're actually great for training your mouth and tongue to pronounce words correctly. For example, try saying this fast. She sells seashells by the seashore. Sounds tricky, right? But the more you practice, the clearer your pronunciation gets. Tongue twisters help you improve difficult sounds and make your speech more fluid. Start with slow speed, then gradually increase as you get better. It's like a workout for your mouth. And trust me, it really works.
That's a great tip. But here's something even more important. Focus on sounds, not just letters. Many English learners struggle because they try to pronounce words based on spelling. But in English, the way a word is written is often different from how it sounds. For example, in the word through, the GH is silent. In island, the S is silent. Instead of guessing the pronunciation, listen to native speakers and repeat after them. A great tool for this is Google's pronunciation feature. Just type any word in Google followed by pronunciation, and you'll hear the correct way to say it. Learning the correct sounds will instantly improve your speaking clarity.
That's such an important point. And remember, you don't need to sound British or American. Just be clear and understandable. Many learners think they need a perfect accent to speak well, but that's not true. English is spoken in so many countries, and everyone has their own accent. What matters most is clarity. If people understand you easily, that's all that matters. So instead of trying to sound perfect, focus on speaking clearly, pronouncing words correctly, and stressing the right syllables. That way you'll sound natural and confident in any conversation.
Priya, you know what slows people down the most when speaking English? Overthinking. Many learners hesitate because they try to build the perfect sentence in their head before speaking, but in real conversations, there's no time for that. The fastest way to improve speaking? Practice speaking in real time. That means training your brain to form sentences quickly, without stopping to think about every little grammar rule. And one of the best ways to do that is timing yourself when speaking. Pick a topic, maybe my daily routine or my weekend plans, and try to speak about it for 1 full minute without stopping. Then do it again and try to go longer. The goal is to get comfortable thinking and speaking at the same time.
That's a great exercise. And here's another trick. Reduce pauses by using filler words naturally. Native speakers do this all the time. Instead of stopping when you're searching for a word, use simple fillers like, well, or let me think. These words give you a second to organize your thoughts without making it obvious that you're struggling. For example, instead of saying, yesterday, I went to the market. Say, yesterday, I went to the market. It sounds much more natural. The more you practice, the fewer pauses you'll have, and soon you'll be speaking smoothly without even thinking about it.
Exactly. And the final key to speaking fast and naturally? Stop overthinking grammar. Grammar is important, but it shouldn't stop you from speaking. Think about little kids. When they start learning a language, they make grammar mistakes all the time, but they keep speaking. And guess what? That's how they get better. The same applies to you. Instead of worrying about making mistakes, just focus on keeping the conversation flowing. Most of the time, people will still understand what you're saying, even if your grammar isn't perfect. And the more you speak, the more your grammar will improve naturally.
That's so true. Speaking fluently isn't about speed, it's about speaking naturally. Some learners think that speaking fast means they are fluent, but that's not true. If you speak too fast without clarity, it actually becomes harder to understand you. Instead, focus on smooth, natural speech. Think of fluency like a flowing river. It moves forward without stopping, but it's not rushing too fast. So, train your brain to think in English, use natural fillers, and speak without fear of mistakes. That's the real secret to confidence.
Now, let's talk about something really powerful, a 30-day action plan to transform your English speaking skills. Many learners get stuck because they don't have a clear roadmap. They practice randomly, then get frustrated when they don't see results. But if you follow a structured plan, you'll improve much faster. Here's how it works. We've broken it down into 3 simple phases. Each phase builds on the previous one, making your progress natural and effective. Stick to this plan for just 30 days, and you'll be amazed at how much better you can speak English.
All right, let's start with days 1 to 10. In this phase, you'll focus on thinking in English as much as possible. Stop translating in your head. Make English your default thinking language. How? Describe your daily tasks in English. For example, when you wake up, think, I'm getting out of bed. Now I'm brushing my teeth. I'm making coffee. This simple habit will train your brain to form English sentences naturally. Also, try talking to yourself in English. Stand in front of a mirror and describe your day. It might feel silly at first, but trust me, this is a game changer for fluency.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to days 11 to 20. This is where you start practicing speaking more actively. One of the best techniques for this is shadowing. Find a native English speaker, maybe from a YouTube video, podcast, or even a movie, and repeat after them, word for word. Copy their tone, rhythm, and pronunciation. This will train your mouth to produce English sounds naturally. Also, keep practicing daily English conversations alone. Narrate what you're doing in real time. Now, I'm walking to the store. I need to buy some vegetables. The more you do this, the more comfortable you'll feel speaking.
And finally, we have days 21 to 30. This is where you refine your speaking skills. First, start recording yourself. Choose a topic, talk for 1 minute, then listen to your recording. Identify areas where you hesitate or mispronounce words and improve them. This is a powerful technique to track your progress and become more confident. Also, in this phase, focus on expanding your vocabulary and improving pronunciation. Learn new words, but don't just memorize them. Use them in sentences immediately. Try tongue twisters to practice tricky sounds, and most importantly, speak daily. Even if you don't have a partner, create an English-speaking environment around you.
If you stick to this 30-day plan, I promise you, your English speaking skills will improve dramatically. Imagine, just 1 month from now, you'll be speaking more fluently, with more confidence, and with better pronunciation. So, now the real question is, are you ready to take action? Because learning happens when you do the work. Don't just listen to this podcast and forget about it. Start today. Pick one of these strategies and apply it right now. Your English speaking journey starts today.